Alright everyone, welcome back to the Rocket channel. It has been a while. I did put out a sumo video with a little bit of footage I had on my iPhone or whatever, but we're finally digging into what's been sitting on my SD card for a while. So if anyone's watching this channel, I can't imagine you're not watching Braden's channel, Rocket Vlogs. So, and if you're not, go check it out. We built and flew our 2x upscale Arcus at Airfest, and it was a 95% successful flight, or that's what we're saying anyway. In this video, we will be going over the Nosecone and what the hell happened to it. I mean, look at that. Wild stuff. So let's get into it. So here is what is left of the Nosecone from the Arcus. Now, if you haven't seen the full construction, I think we went. I think in Braden's video, it kind of shows how that went together. We're making a giant foam Nosecone, and none of us have made our own Nosecone before. All red is not. It's like a 3D movie. So I want to write my viz. Dude, it really is one of those like the coupler will go on here. Right. But we had a piece of 1/2" all thread that went through. So this is the Nosecone shoulder, and it's just a coupler with a bulk plate on each side. And then the Nosecone was made of a bunch of foam rings glued together. Well, they started out as foam squares, but a bunch of pieces of 1.5" pink insulation foam glued together, then cut using a template and a foam hot wire cutter. And then we spun it using the rod and a drill to kind of sand it to shape as a sort of a makeshift lathe. We were left with a really pretty nice looking Nosecone. And then we fiberglassed the whole thing with a layer of 9-ounce glass or whatever, and it looked pretty darn good. The threaded rod, this piece of all thread, went all the way through the Nosecone, and was actually ground down to form the final tip. And there was actually a nut on the top side too, and so that kind of held the whole thing together. There actually is. There was a nut on the bottom, so there's actually a nut right here that went on the bottom piece of foam. And so basically there was a nut on each side of the foam, and then there's a nut on the other side of the bulk plate here, and then this wing nut here. So there was also an instant where when we first stacked the rocket together, the Nosecone or the coupler fell down in the tube and the whole upper section fell off, which was tragic.
The coupler falling? Shit. Good. Oh no. It's good.
Nosecone hit the ground but did not break. But we did have a little bit of a wiggle because, as you can see, it was glued on here with epoxy. The foam part was glued on as well, besides being held together with the all thread. But it sort of came apart, or not. I guess not came apart, but I probably could have used a little bit more glue. But it felt like it just, you know, it was no longer a solid joint. I don't necessarily think that was the failure though, because epoxy and foam, or, you know, foam attached to plywood with epoxy, really, whether that was holding super well or not, that wasn't really what was holding together structurally. But clearly we didn't understand the forces involved of the drag of a 9-inch rocket getting close to Mach 1 on 9 motors. So it really, if you look, it just snapped clean off. Right toward the end of the burn of that N2000. And I think, you know, it just got going too fast and just snapped it off. Now that we've done it, this is the first nose cone I'd ever made myself. And we have no plans to fly the Arcus again in the immediate future. I would probably a couple years. Next year we're gonna fly the Big Punisher again on a full load, whatever that is. Probably an N and 6 M's, but we'll have to see. What needed to happen was, instead of the foam part being slapped onto the coupler here, instead of being built around a threaded rod, it needed to be built around a tube. So when I rebuild it, what I will do is, and we actually, I don't know where it's at, but the coupler was twice this long, so I actually have a piece of coupler we can use as the replacement nose cone for whenever we decide to build that. So I'm gonna get probably a 3-inch fiberglass tube that will go up as far inside of the nose cone as possible. And so the whole thing will be built around a 3-inch fiberglass tube. This part will be the same, except instead of 2 bulk plates, it'll be 2 centering rings. This will also allow us to put some electronics in the nose cone if we want to, but the tube will be glued into the centering rings here, and then foam will be stacked the same way, but it's not going to fold over a 3-inch fiberglass tube. Clearly a 1/2-inch piece of all thread just was not strong enough, which I guess is, I don't know. I would have not guessed that was going to be the failure necessarily. I thought maybe it would break on landing or something, or, you know, at least be damaged in a way that couldn't be reused. I wasn't expecting it to break off, but of course now if you looking at the middle of the all thread, it doesn't look incredibly high quality metal. I mean, it looks cast, like it was poured into a mold. I'm not sure if that's how all thread is, because I feel like some of it is really good metal. So I don't know. I don't know what our conclusion is on that, other than our nose cone failed. But this was the cheapest part of the rocket. Cost us probably $20 to make. I mean, considering, you know, we're using fiberglass we already had and stuff like that, but basically a $20 sheet of foam and a $10 coupler. I mean, it's not that's our best case scenario for a failure on that rocket. Basically what happened as it went up, as soon as the nose cone came off, the rocket basically just started decelerating hard. It was like a big air brake. This coupler stayed inside the payload section, shear pinned in, and remained that way till the main parachutes came out. So that was really great. Had the main parachutes came out on the way up, that would have been really bad. So that's exciting. The whole deployment sequence worked. The actual just cone part came off. So as soon as that in motor stopped burning, which I believe was around 5,000 or 6,000 feet, it just immediately slowed down. Our max altitude was about 7,500, I think, as opposed to like 13,000, because it would have coasted for a long time. But there was just basically a flat plate on top of our tube. So it was great. Nose cone came off, just kept going straight up, but slowed down really, really fast. We could have folded the rocket. That was one concern. We weren't going, that's why we pulled back on the motors. The tube isn't as strong as we would have liked. But the fact that it held the force of the nose cone coming off and the whole rocket kind of kicking a little bit, I'd say that I'm pretty happy with the strength of everything. The coupler is bulletproof. It's 1/4 inch thick cardboard. Sorry. I don't know what else to ask, or I can't really ask for anything else. It was a great flight. We just like the Punisher a lot more. We found out after flying another big rocket. It's just, you can see it back there. It's a beast, and it is just super impressive. The Arcus is a lot cheaper to fly though, so we'll probably fly the Punisher one more time, and then go to we might do the Arcus again after that. We'll see how the Punisher flight goes next year, and if we fly the Arcus again, I would guess an N or could bump it back to an M. I don't know. It depends what we want to do, but we'll put 4Ks in the outboards, something like N2000 and 4K 375s. We'll never do another 9-motor flight because it's just dumb. But it was cool to do it once, and just because that was the absolute most motor, actual amount of motors we could fit in there, and it's just a dumb cluster to do, and they all lit, so you can't really ask for more than that. So yeah, excited to do more big rocket stuff. And all right, so that is the overview for the nose cone of the double Arcus and everything about the flight at Airfest. Thanks for tuning into the Rocket Channel. Stay tuned for some, well, whatever it is that's on my SD card. I'm not really sure. I'm guessing more sumo stuff, but we'll have to see. We're gonna try to get some video edited. We'll catch you next time.